Namaskar. A warm welcome to World News and Indian Perspective on All India Radio. This is Saira Mujtaba, bringing glimpses of the major developments of the day from across the globe. Over the next half an hour, we shall bring you the latest from the world of politics, economy, sports, entertainment and more. The headlines. India needs to reorient skill infrastructure system to meet the needs of skilled craftsmen, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India and Australia aim to push bilateral trade to $100 billion in the next 5 years. Fourth Y20 consultation meet held in Pune. Union Minister Anurag Thakur says Y20 is an opportunity for deeper involvement of youth at all levels. Two-day G20 Flower Festival begins in New Delhi. Tunisia and Syria plan to restore diplomatic ties after a gap of more than a decade. In cricket, India trails by 191 runs in first innings against Australia in Ahmedabad Test. And in Women's Premier League, Delhi Capitals defeat Gujarat Giants by 10 wickets at D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stressed on the need to reorient the skill infrastructure system according to the needs of skilled craftsmen or Vishwakarmas. Mr. Modi was addressing the post-budget webinar on PM Vishwakarma Kaushal Samman Yojana this morning. He said, skilled craftsmen are a symbol of the true spirit of self-reliant India, and the government considers such people as Vishwakarmas of New India. He said, small artisans play an important role in the production of local crafts, and PM Vishwakarma Yojana focuses on empowering them.
बीते वर्षों में हमने स्किल इंडिया मिशन के माध्यम से कौशल विकास केंद्रों के माध्यम से करोड़ों युवाओं की स्किल बढ़ाने, उन्हें रोजगार के नए अवसर देने का काम किया है। कौशल जैसे क्षेत्र में हम जितना स्पेसिफिक होंगे, जितनी टारगेटेड अप्रोच होगी, उतने ही बेहतर परिणाम मिलेंगे। पीएम विश्वकर्मा कौशल सम्मान योजना ये इसी सोच का नतीजा है।
Mentioning the continued demand for handmade products, the Prime Minister said that the government will provide holistic institutional support to every Vishwakarma of the country. This will ensure easy loans, skilling, technical support, digital empowerment, brand promotion, marketing and raw material.
इस योजना के द्वारा केंद्र सरकार हर विश्वकर्मा साथी को होलिस्टिक इंस्टीट्यूशनल सपोर्ट प्रदान करेगी। विश्वकर्मा साथियों को आसानी से लोन मिले, उनका कौशल बढ़े, उन्हें हर तरह का टेक्निकल सपोर्ट मिले, ये सब सुनिश्चित किया जाएगा।
Mr. Modi also mentioned the need for digital literacy campaigns to Vishwakarma Sathis on a priority basis. The Prime Minister underlined that this working class have conserved their craft of using traditional methods for centuries, and they are making a mark with their extraordinary skills and unique creations. He said the PM Vikas scheme focuses on skilled craftsmen from villages and towns who earn a living by working with their own hands. He said for the last few years, the government has been working towards enhancing the skills of crores of youngsters and providing them job opportunities through the Skill India Mission and the Kaushal Vikas Kendra. Referring to Gandhiji's concept of Gram Swaraj, the Prime Minister said, empowering every section of the village for its development is essential for India's developmental journey. The Prime Minister highlighted that artisans and craftsmen can be strengthened when they become a part of the value chain. Today's webinar was the last and final of a series of 12 post-budget webinars organized by the government. It aims to seek ideas and suggestions for effectively implementing the initiatives announced in the Union Budget 2023. India's Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal on Saturday said, India and Australia will aim to push the bilateral trade to $100 billion in the next 5 years. The minister was addressing the media in New Delhi on India-Australia 18th Joint Ministerial Commission with Australian Trade and Tourism Minister Don Farrell. He said that India and Australia have some critical talents at government, business and people-to-people levels, and together the two countries can make tremendous difference in the world. Union Minister for Youth Affairs Anurag Singh Thakur of India inaugurated the 4th Youth 20 consultation meeting in Pune. Youth 20 or Y20 is an official consultation forum for the youth from all G20 member countries. The Y20 summit in 2023 under India's presidency would exemplify the country's youth-centric efforts and provide an opportunity to showcase its values and policy measures to the youth across the globe. Speaking on the occasion, the minister said that young people are equal stakeholders in the present scenario. He said that the Y20 summit presents a unique platform for young minds to share their vision, values and ideas and develop solutions and recommendations which will be presented to G20 leadership. He said India's role in this summit is not limited to speaking. It also aims for youth to be heard and actively shape the global agenda. Talking to media after the event, Mr. Thakur expressed faith that the active involvement of young minds present for the event will lead them to a deeper understanding of the challenges being faced by the society and humanity and the ways to resolve them at the Y20 discussion forum. A 2-day G20 Flower Festival began at Connaught Place in Delhi on Saturday. It is aimed at highlighting the vibrancy of G20 members and guest countries. Union Environment Minister Bhupendra Yadav inaugurated the festival, which is being organized by the New Delhi Municipal Council at the Central Park. G20 countries including Japan, Singapore and the Netherlands are participating in it. Flower plants of different colors and varieties are being displayed in different forms and installations to showcase the diversity of the Indian subcontinent. The festival is also showcasing paintings and photographs of flowers of G20 member countries and guest countries. The timing of the festival is from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and entry is free for the general public. The session on climate action at the 4th Youth 20 Y20 has called upon the youngsters to be brave and outspoken about their opinions on climate issues. The first session of the day on the subject at the consultation meeting was held at the Symbiosis International University SIU in Pune in Maharashtra on Saturday. Speaking at the session, the panelists stressed on the need for inclusion of youth as stakeholders in the policy-making process at the national and international levels and the need to support small, localized and decentralized actions for holistic development. The speakers also called on the youth to live harmoniously with fellow humans and the environment. Dr. Bala Ramani, elected member of the Hanover City Council and spokesperson for climate change and environmental protection, Germany, started the discussion by highlighting the interconnectedness of people around the globe and how our action determines the everyday lives of people living thousands of miles away. In response to the One Nation, One Grid policy, Dr. Bala Ramani said that the concept applies to countries worldwide. He said that individual initiatives will be futile if climate change is not tackled universally. The Y20 consultation meeting also deliberated on global education reforms. The meeting highlighted the need to focus on life skills, holistic education, institutional capacity to impart hard and soft skills, student-driven education policy. Mr. Simon Khwani Kheer Khwani, Program Manager at Education for Peace, UNESCO, Iraq, emphasized the importance of more interactive and playful education, including life skills. He suggested creating a buddy system in schools where students can help each other along with academics and fasten collective growth. Y20 is an official consultation forum for the youth from all G20 member countries to be able to have a dialogue with each other. The theme for the 4th Y20 consultation is Peace Building and Reconciliation, Ushering in an Era of No War, the philosophy of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. Climate action is one of the 6 sub-themes of the consultation. And now in today's Hotspot section, we bring you a news commentary on Prime Minister hails Union Budget as women-centric.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a post-budget webinar on the subject of economic empowerment of women. It was in the series of post-budget webinars organized by the government to seek ideas and suggestions for effectively implementing the initiatives announced in the Union Budget 2023. The Prime Minister expressed happiness that the country has seen this year's budget as an auspicious beginning for achieving the target of Vikasit Bharat by 2047. The budget has been seen and tested from the point of view of future Amrit Kal. It is a good sign for the country that the citizens of the country are also looking at the next 25 years by linking them with these goals, he said. The Prime Minister reiterated that in the last 9 years the country has moved with a vision of women-led development. He continued that India has taken these efforts to the global stage as it is figuring prominently in the G20 meeting presided over by India. This year's budget will give new momentum to these efforts of women-led development, he said. Mr. Modi underlined the Nari Shakti's strengths of determination, willpower, imagination, ability to work for goals, and extreme hard work as a reflection of Matru Shakti. He said these qualities are playing a major role in increasing the speed and scale of India in this century. The Prime Minister said today the results of efforts for women's empowerment are visible and we are feeling a revolutionary change in the social life of the country. He said that the number of women compared to men is increasing and the number of girls studying up to high school and beyond has tripled in the last 9 to 10 years. Girls' enrollment in science, technology, engineering and maths is at 43% today, more than countries like America, UK and Germany. In fields like medical, sports, business or politics, not only the participation of women has grown, but they are leading from the front. The Prime Minister touched upon the fact that 70% Mudra loan beneficiaries are women. Similarly, women benefit from schemes for promotion of collateral-free loans under Swanidhi and promotion schemes in animal husbandry, fisheries, village industries, FPOs and sports. Mr. Modi observed that the reflection of how we can take the country forward with the help of half of the country's population and how we can increase the potential of women power is visible in this budget. He mentioned Mahila Samman Saving Certificate Scheme where women are to get 7.5% interest. 80,000 crore rupees for PM Awas Yojana is also a step in the direction of women's empowerment as most of the 3 crore houses are in the name of women, the Prime Minister said. He emphasized the empowering aspect of PM Awas in a scenario where traditionally women had no property in their name. PM Awas has given women a new voice in economic decisions of the household, he said. The Prime Minister informed about the announcement for the support to the self-help groups for creating new unicorns among SHGs. The Prime Minister illustrated the strength of the country's vision for women's empowerment with changing scenarios. Today, 1 out of 5 non-farm businesses is run by a woman. More than 7 crore women have joined self-help groups in the last 9 years. Their value creation can be understood by their capital requirement as these self-help groups have taken loans worth 6.25 lakh crores. The Prime Minister pointed out that these women are contributing not only as small entrepreneurs but also as capable resource persons. He mentioned the Bank Sakhi, Krishi Sakhi and Pashu Sakhi programs that are scaling new dimensions of development in villages. The Prime Minister dwelled on the transformation in the cooperative sector and role of women in the sector. More than 2 lakh multi-purpose cooperatives, dairy cooperatives and fisheries cooperatives are to be formed in the coming years. A target has been set to connect 1 crore farmers with natural farming. Women farmers and producer groups can play a big role in this, the Prime Minister said.
In some more news, India's Minister of State for Culture Arjun Ram Meghwal inaugurated the exhibition Women and Nation Building 1857 to the Republic at National Archives of India in New Delhi on Saturday. The exhibition is being held on the occasion of 133rd Foundation Day celebrations of the National Archives of India. On the occasion, Mr. Meghwal said it was the idea of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to highlight the unsung heroes of the freedom struggle in which women played an important part. He said that the exhibition highlights the contributions of women in nation building and freedom struggle from 1857 in an interesting manner. Citing examples of Durgavati Devi and Kasturba Gandhi, the minister said that the exhibition throws light on important and unknown aspects of their contribution. The exhibition will remain open for the public till the 30th of next month from 10:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. each day, including Saturday, Sunday and national holidays. The centre has written a letter to all states and union territories over the rising trend in the influenza-like illnesses and severe acute respiratory illnesses being witnessed in some states and UTs. Union Health Secretary Rajesh Bhushan has asked them to follow operational guidelines for integrated surveillance of respiratory pathogens causing the illness. He also asked the states and UTs to raise community awareness regarding adherence to respiratory and hand hygiene and promote early reporting of symptoms to limit the transmission. The states were also requested to review hospital preparedness, including availability of drugs and medical oxygen, vaccination coverage against COVID-19 and influenza. This is All India Radio giving you the world news. Welcome back. Tunisian President Kais Saied has said he plans to restore diplomatic relations with Syria more than a decade after they were broken off in protest of Damascus's repression of political opponents. During a sit-down with Tunisian Foreign Minister Nabil Ammar, Saied said that nothing can justify the absence of a Tunisian ambassador in Damascus and an ambassador from Syria in Tunis. He also said that the question of the regime in Syria concerns only the Syrians, rejecting any interference in the affairs and choices of others. Saied had mentioned his intention to reinforce the diplomatic representation of Tunisia in Syria back in February. Tunisia expelled Syria's ambassador in 2012 over the bloody repression of opponents of President Bashar al-Assad at the outset of the country's civil war. In 2015, Tunisia took a step toward re-establishing relations when it designated a consular representative to Assad's regime to follow the situation of Tunisians in Syria. US President Joe Biden has named two Indian Americans, Revati Advati, CEO of Flex, and Manish Bapana, CEO of the Natural Resources Defense Council, to the Advisory Committee for Trade Policy and Negotiations. On Friday, Mr. Biden announced his intent to appoint 14 people to the Advisory Committee, which provides overall policy advice to the United States Trade Representative on matters of development, implementation, and administration of the U.S. trade policy. In Sri Lanka, local government elections will be held on the 25th of April. The Election Commission of Sri Lanka said that the returning officers in their respective districts have issued a gazette notification in this regard. The Election Commission had asked the returning officers to make arrangements for holding the polls in April, as they could not be held on the 9th of March. California reels under severe weather crisis as torrential rain has brought flash floods and landslides to the state. The state is dealing with blocked roads, falling trees, and raising avalanche fears due to the latest winter storm. The National Weather Service has warned of a high risk of excessive rainfall throughout the weekend. U.S. President Joe Biden has offered emergency federal assistance to all the affected states. The atmospheric disturbance that began on Thursday is known as a Pineapple Express because it brings warm subtropical moisture across the Pacific from near Hawaii. As much as 10 inches of rainfall in 24 hours could be experienced in some parts of the state where there is snowpack, meaning the potential for widespread flooding is considerable, according to the National Weather Service. Due to such strange and inhibiting weather conditions, lack of ability to get equipment into the rugged and frost-laden terrain has hampered the progress of rescue efforts to a great extent. California is still reeling from a series of extreme weather events this month and last. California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency in 34 counties in the state amid one of its wettest winters on record. At least 8 deaths were possibly related to the weather, while 2 deaths have been confirmed due to the storms. Li Qiang, a close aide of President Xi Jinping, has been confirmed as China's premier on Saturday at the National People's Congress NPC, the country's annual legislature. He is taking over from Li Keqiang, who is returning from after serving 2 5-year terms. As the country's second-in-command, Li, the former party chief of Shanghai, will be in charge of reviving an economy battered by stringent COVID-19 controls and restoring market confidence. China's economy grew by just 3% in 2022, among the slowest rates of growth in decades and well short of the official 5.5% target, largely due to COVID-19 lockdowns and a real estate downturn. He was at the helm during Shanghai's chaotic 2-month COVID-19 lockdown last year and faced heavy criticism. However, to his credit, he was able to bring Tesla to the financial capital to build an electric vehicle plant. Lee, who has no experience of working at the central government, will lead the State Council, the country's cabinet, along with a new team of top officials to be confirmed before the NPC concludes on Monday. Li Qiang will also hold his first press conference as Premier on Monday. It should be closely watched to understand his thinking on matters related to China's economy as it is struggling with a weak demand, demographic challenges and technological bottlenecks and sanctions by the West. Lee was elevated to the Communist Party's powerful Politburo Standing Committee at the 20th Party Congress in October, when President Xi secured an unprecedented third term and possibly a rule for life with the loyalists stacked in a circle of decision-making. Chinese President Xi Jinping has called for quickly elevating the armed forces to world-class standards. He also emphasized on improving China's integrated strategic capabilities to fulfill the country's goal of national rejuvenation. President Xi told this to the delegation of People's Liberation Army (PLA) and the paramilitary unit People's Armed Police at a meeting during the ongoing 14th National People's Congress (NPC) in Beijing. Xi, who was elected as China's president for an unprecedented third term and also the head of the National Central Military Commission yesterday. People across Japan remembered thousands of lives lost when a massive earthquake and tsunami struck along the northern Pacific coast 12 years ago. The disaster triggered a nuclear catastrophe which remains unresolved. People across the country observed a moment of silence at 2:46 p.m., the exact time the magnitude 9 earthquake struck. The magnitude 9 quake struck at 2:46 p.m. on 11th of March 2011, generating tsunami waves more than 10 meters tall. The Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant was engulfed, causing a triple meltdown. Authorities said the toll of those confirmed dead or missing has topped 22,000. The total includes people who died in the years following the disaster from health problems or causes related to it. Hundreds of thousands of people were forced to evacuate, and more than 30,000 of them were still displaced as of last month. 12 years on, over 300 square kilometers of land near the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant is still classified as a difficult-to-return zone. People waiting to move back to these areas face an uncertain future. Saudi Arabia is demanding security guarantees and help in the development of its civilian nuclear program from the United States, as the latter is trying to broker its peace deal with Israel. Reaching a normalization deal between Saudi Arabia and Israel has become a priority for Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and US President Joe Biden, as chances of confrontation with Iran over its military aid to Russia amid the Ukraine war and the nuclear program remain high. The deep involvement of the Biden administration in the complex negotiations would reshape the political landscape of the Middle East. The demands made by Saudi Arabia for nuclear aid and security guarantees stand as daunting obstacles amid the deal, as the measures are likely to be opposed by some Washington lawmakers. The United Kingdom will give France £480 million over 3 years in an attempt to stop migrants travelling in small boats across the Channel. The cash was announced on Saturday at a summit in Paris between UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and President Emmanuel Macron. The money will go towards an extra 500 officers and a new detention centre in France. UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has made stopping the boats one of his key pledges for his government. Silicon Valley Bank, which served mostly technology workers and ventures capital-backed companies, collapsed yesterday, marking the largest failure of a U.S. financial institution. Startup-focused biggest U.S. lender SVB Financial Group became the largest bank to fail since the 2008 financial crisis in a sudden collapse that roiled global markets and left billions of dollars belonging to companies and investors stranded. Greg Becker, Silicon Valley Bank's chief executive officer, played a prominent role in steering the lender, valued at over $40 billion till last year. Becker, who served at the Federal Reserve Bank of San Francisco as among its board of directors, departed the board Friday following the crisis. In cricket, India were 289 for 3 in the first innings when stumps were drawn on day 3 of the Ahmedabad test of the Border Gavaskar Trophy. The hosts added 253 runs on Saturday after resuming their innings at the overnight score of 36 for no loss in the morning. Shubman Gill was the top scorer with 128 runs. Virat Kohli 59 and Ravindra Jadeja 16 were at the crease. India now trails by 191 runs. On the second day, on Sunday, Australia were all out for 480, helped by 180 runs by Usman Khawaja and 114 by Cameron Green. R. Ashwin took 6 wickets for India. India already have retained the Border Gavaskar Trophy after winning the first 2 tests of the 4-match series. In Women's Premier League, Delhi Capitals defeated Gujarat Giants by 10 wickets at D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai. They surpassed the victory target of 106 runs in 7.1 overs, making 107 runs without losing any wicket. Shefali Verma scored unbeaten 76 off 28 balls, while Meg Lanning made 21 off 15 balls for the winners. Gujarat Giants had set a target of 106 runs against Delhi Capitals. Gujarat Giants skipper Snehal Rana won the toss and opted to bat first. They scored 105 runs for the loss of 9 wickets in the stipulated 20 overs. Kim Garth top scored with 32 runs. For Delhi Capitals, Marizanne Kapp claimed 5 wickets while Shikha Pandey took 3. And now let's take a look at the major developments around the world as reported in the foreign press. The Guardian writes, fury in Germany as Hamburg shooting brings lax gun laws into focus. The Washington Post reports, Silicon Valley Bank failure raises fears of broader financial contagion. The Globe and Mail reports, Meta to end Canadians' access to news on Facebook and Instagram if Bill C-18 becomes law. The Financial Times writes, vaccine inequality blamed for boosting global COVID death toll. And South China Morning Post reports, Iran breaches deal to buy Russian fighter jets. And now a quick look at the headlines once again. India needs to reorient skill infrastructure system to meet the needs of skilled craftsmen, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi. India and Australia aim to push bilateral trade to $100 billion in the next 5 years. 4th Y20 consultation meet held in Pune. Union Minister Anurag Thakur says Y20 is an opportunity for deeper involvement of youth at all levels. 2-day G20 Flower Festival begins in New Delhi. Tunisia and Syria plan to restore diplomatic ties after a gap of more than a decade. In cricket, India trails by 191 runs in first innings against Australia in Ahmedabad Test. And in Women's Premier League, Delhi Capitals defeat Gujarat Giants by 10 wickets at D.Y. Patil Sports Academy in Navi Mumbai. And now before we end, let us listen to Mahatma Gandhi's favorite bhajan, Vaishnav Jan by artists from Mauritius. And with that, we end this bulletin. We'll be back at the same time tomorrow with the next edition of World News.